palm trees, blue waters, and sandy beaches. But today it goes racing. So buckle up as TNN Motorsports and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series head to Homestead for the Florida Dodge Dealers 400. TNN Motorsports is proud to join with NASCAR in the celebration of its 50th anniversary. And today, TNN Motorsports has come to the Homestead Motorsports Complex in South Florida, race number 2 of the 1998 schedule for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold, and welcome to a beautiful and warm Homestead, Florida. Temperature 90 degrees here at race time, but we are set for the resumption of the 98 schedule. And the reason I say it quite like that is because race number 1 of the year was in Orlando, Florida, 77 days ago. Today, it's race number 2 of the year. But let's take you back to what happened 1 year ago. Last November, all eyes were on Jack Sprague as he drove his Quaker State Chevy to his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship. But in Orlando, 77 days ago, it was the 96 champion, Ron Hornaday, who took the checkered flag to kick off the new season. Hornaday is here in Homestead today, and so is Glenn Jarrett.
And we're standing by Ron Hornaday right now, Eli. You know, when he won at Orlando, 8-10 weeks ago, he started from the outside of the front row. Today, inside row 11, 21st position. Man, can you get up through the front?
We have to. We got to take this Napa Chevrolet up there. It's just bad. It's bad luck draw. We just drew number 1, and, you know, they've got the other kind of cars here, and the track wasn't up to snuff. But the guys worked hard, and we had a little bit of problem with the motor, and it was sucking oil, so we had to change motors. So we got a new package here. And Fred Graves, the guys work hard in this Napa Chevrolet. We'll see if we go to the front.
Well, you know what? There's nothing more fun than watching Ron Hornaday work up through the pack, and we're going to be there for him all day. Right now, let's go up to the front row. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Glenn, Jack Sprague's rear bumper is what most drivers usually see on the big tracks. Sprague is a series super speedway all-time win leader with 7 victories. And today, he starts on the pole. Jack, it's been 7 months since your last win. What's it going to take to win today?
Well, I tell you that this Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet has been awesome since it came off the truck. The guys have done a great job, close to a primary sponsor. Hopefully this will help out a little bit, but we got some great associates with Quaker State and GMAC and Rotary Lift and AC. I tell you, I don't know. You know, we've run awful well here in the past, and we could have won both races previous 2 years and haven't. So I think being consistent, and hopefully the truck will handle as it has the last 2 days, and we can come home and win this thing for Rick. I'd like to say hi to Rick. I know he's home watching, and we're ready to rock and roll. We've had way too much time off.
Well, good luck. Sprague has stiff competition, including the guy who starts second, Mike Bliss. He was the guy who was second best in the super speedways last season. Eli?
Matt, way too much time off. That's what everybody is talking about. Bill Venturini is with us, a 2-time ARCA Series champion. I don't know if you ever had 77 days off in the middle of a schedule. These guys are itching to get back to work.
You know, 2.5 months off. You'd think these guys have enough time to go play a few rounds of golf. No way. This race is too important. They've been back at the shops working on these trucks, testing, doing everything they can so that the other guy doesn't have an advantage for today's race.
Now, 1 season ago, it was a rookie who grabbed the headlines here. If you were with us on TNN, remember Kenny Irwin Jr. driving to his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series victory. And that brings us to our storylines of this day. We talk about rookies. You want rookies? How about nearly a dozen who have signed up for the Cintas Rookie of the Year program? We'll follow their progress today. Chevy and Dodge, they have tested here at Homestead. Ford has not. And the significance of that is, Bill, they've reconfigured this racetrack since last the trucks ran here.
Sure, a new configuration has brought along 2 significant changes. The first one was very evident yesterday in qualifying. Today's pole speed over 9 miles an hour faster than last year's. The second one is going to be quite apparent today when they drop the green flag. Competition. The drivers feel that they're going to be much more comfortable going into the corners. They're going to be able to race side by side. You should see some good competition in passing today.
Those constant radius corners you see there replace the old square corners of years gone by. The new design numbers on the left, the former design numbers on the right. Bottom line, more competition, and we are glad to be here to bring it to you this afternoon. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is in Homestead, Florida. It's a beautiful day. The starting lineup in a moment. Being brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler Plymouth Dodge Jeep and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. By 104 Plus Octane Boost. Feel the power guaranteed. And by Ice House. Ice brewed so there's never any watered down taste. Welcome back to the Homestead Motorsports Complex. 90-degree temperatures here in South Florida, and we are set to go racing. The official starters for today's Florida Dodge Dealer 400 are the 18 winners of the Green Flag contest that was presented by the participating Florida Dodge dealers. The grand prize winner will drop the green flag later today. Her name is Kathy Moody. But the all group of 18 are set to get these engines fired up, and we are set to go racing.
Drivers, start your engines!
And with that command, we are set to go racing here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. A great-looking field of trucks, 38 in number, set to battle here today. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's event. Jack Sprague, his 9th career pole, and Mike Bliss. Rich Bickle, 2nd in 97 points, and Ron Barfield, 4th place here in 1996. Boris Said, the road racer. Terry Cook is on hand. Joe Ruttman, 2nd place at Orlando, and Brian Reffner. Randy Tolsma. You see where Jay Sauter had his dad shaking the truck down yesterday, Bill?
Yeah, they were even concerned about even maybe bringing a backup truck. Jim came along strictly to shake down anything they needed.
There you see row 6, row 7, Lonnie Rush and Bob Keselowski, who had an 8th place finish earlier this year at Orlando. Mike Wallace in his first Homestead truck race. Andy Houston, another of the 2nd generation drivers. He's, of course, the son of the legendary Tommy Houston. Greg Biffle. Jimmy Hensley driving for the King, who is here today. Richard Petty's on hand, taking in the action. Greg Corelli. Chuck Bound, who was not driving for Roush Racing. The sponsorship went away, but it was nice to see Chuck pick up a ride here after sitting on the Bud pole at Orlando.
Yeah, he's driving, I guess, the CSG racing team truck, a 2nd truck, and glad to see him back in the truck series.
Row 15 and 16, as you see, with a lot of new names that will detail as the year goes and as this afternoon goes. Scott Walters, full-time for Bruco Motorsports this year. Doug George is here with Barry Bodine, and ARCA veteran Frank Kimmel going shotgun on the field. That is the starting lineup. The green flag when we come back to the Homestead Motorsports Complex in South Florida. Getting set to go green here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex in South Florida. Let's check out some of the numbers pertinent to today's event. The AutoZone race analysis brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. 167 laps making up the total distance for the 3rd visit of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Mike Bliss carrying the onboard cameras for us as he heads up the back straightaway. Boris Said likewise. Beautiful racetrack here. Ron Hornaday, he'll give us a lift around the speedway. There's the Dana machine for Butch Miller. Team truck to the Norick family. There's Jimmy Hensley. Boris Said and the Federated Auto Parts team. And Dave Rezendes in the Ice House truck as he takes us through what is now, as you can see, a constant radius corner, a conventional type of turn, if you will, as opposed to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway type of corners that they had here in the past. Glad you are with us as we are set to go racing here on TNN Motorsports. 167 laps. Green is in the air. Jack Sprague in that white truck jumping out quickly. Remember, this year, no green colors for him. It's a white truck to begin the second race of the year. Up into the wall. Problems right off the bat for the 88 truck, as Cook thought he had himself a good open groove, but Terry found the wall. No caution.
On the wall, but ain't no caution. Keep going.
You hear the spotters talking to the team. No caution. And now he stops in turn 4. Caution is on the speedway.
There's one up against the wall coming off of 4. Other than that, the track's clear.
Terry Cook, lap number 1, found the wall. Tough break for that team. They had a brand new sponsor, Nokia, coming on board, and Bill Venturini's. Let's see if we can pick out what happened there.
It looks like the truck just took off. He had the wheels definitely turned to the left. A good sign that maybe something broke. Either he got a flat tire or something broke on it. But you know, he went into the corner. The truck darted to the right, and his wheels definitely were still turned to the left.
There again, he rode the wall. Looked for a while as though he might be able to come on around towards the pit lane, but he couldn't. And caution is on the speedway. So Jack Sprague is the race leader. They'll get that truck off the wall, and we'll be back to work in a moment. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400 is being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by the new Dodge. It's about change. Terry Cook's truck heading towards the garage area as we continue under caution. 1 lap complete and 1 caution on the day. What it does, however, do is give us an opportunity to take a look at today's Dodge Innovation in Motion. Glenn Jarrett with a very interesting look at a new idea.
You know, one of the best innovations that we have seen in a long time is right here inside this Dodge truck driven by Lance Norrick. Let's take a look inside. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Take a look right here at the headrest that Lance uses. It has dual headrests. One on the right side, that's mandatory by NASCAR. The one on the left side, that's driver optional. Lance and his Dodge teammate Butch Miller both use this style headrest for safety reasons only. More and more lately, we're seeing a lot of left side impacts, particularly on high-speed racetracks. A driver gets hit hard in the left side, or the truck turns around and hits the wall on the left side, forcing the driver's head over into this post. This headrest stops that. This is one Dodge driver who thinks that safety comes first.
Boy, I wish we would have had that back about 6 or 7 years ago. I had a problem in Pocono. Spun, hit the wall. Sure enough, my head hit. I'm not sure if it hit the wall or the roll cage. I spent 3 days in the hospital, not even knowing who I was or what I was doing there.
Now we know, though. You are Bill Venturini. Jay Sauter's truck has made an unscheduled stop. There you see the Goodwrench team having just completed the work. Matt Yoakum, what's going on?
Well, Eli, it looks to be the stem on the wheel broke off. All the air came out, and then you can see just the carcass is left of the tire, the radio. Tore that thing up pretty bad.
So problems right off the bat there for Jay Sauter.
For the stem to break, that's usually a sign that he got into somebody. I'm wondering if maybe him and Terry Cook happened to just bump fenders or just happened to touch just a little, and that could have maybe caused the wreck. Not for sure, though.
Of course, the video didn't quite show clearly what exactly had happened there, but nevertheless, we'll get an update, I'm sure, when Terry Cook comes out of the infield care center. Jack Sprague ahead of Mike Bliss, Rich Bickle, Ron Barfield, and Boris Said back to green.
Clear all around.
That's Mike Wallace in the 52, middle of your screen, as we ride with Ron Hornaday now. Wallace challenging him.
Clear behind him.
Listen in to Ron Hornaday's radio. Good 8th place scramble there. Keselowski to the inside of Rames. That's now a Ford truck for the Pennzoil team here in 1998.
Yeah, no, Keselowski's running good. He had a problem just after qualifying. They didn't sure if they liked the motor. that they put a new one in for qualifying. Right after qualifying, they took it back out and put the motor in that they were testing with on Thursday, and it seems to be working fine.
See that 61 truck there on the left of your screen, Randy Tolsma. He has been quick all weekend long, folks. Just make a note, and remember, we talked about it early. In case he stays up front or even goes to victory lane, he was one of the top 3 all weekend long. There's the battle for the lead. Bliss in the 2 to the inside of Sprague in the 24. Bliss by inches, says the computer. So he's the new leader. Riding with Mike Bliss now.
Just right coming off the corner, you can see Jack Sprague's truck just wiggle a little, and it was enough where Mike Bliss was able to get underneath him coming off the corner, running down the back straightaway.
These guys nice and racy after this long layoff. This is for the lead. Riding with Mike Bliss. Rich Bickle closing in the 3rd spot. Sprague led that lap.
You're clear, Mike.
Looking out from behind now, Bliss's truck. There you see Rich Bickle, then Barfield, then Boris Said, then Ramses Holzma. Behind him, Joe Ruttman in the X-side truck. That's that big old pack of trucks you're seeing right there, middle of your screen.
Like you had said, Eli, Randy Tolsma has been fast all weekend. Actually, we were a little surprised that he didn't qualify in the top 5. We started 9th, but he's been no worse than the 3rd fastest truck all weekend in any practice session.
Exactly.
And of course, Sprague, who's leading, has been the fastest in every practice session.
Folks at Napa bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring across the top of the screen. One name you won't see in that rundown right now is Terry Cook. His truck was in the wall on lap 1. Glenn, what was the deal down there?
Well, we came down to check with the crew, Eli, to find out exactly what happened, to see if Terry said anything to them. And as we were walking that way, we were monitoring the radio or the communications between Terry and the crew. He simply said he and Ruttman got together going into turn 3, got him up out of the groove. He couldn't turn the truck. Right into the wall he went. So there was contact.
So that answers that as we get the update from Glenn Jarrett down in the garage area. There are the front 2 machines. Sprague and Bliss. There's 3rd on back now.
Boy, is it nice to see Rich Bickle back driving full-time. No, I shouldn't say full-time. He's got a 1-race deal right now with the new owners of the Darrell Waltrip team. Tyler Jett's the name of the company, but they're possibly looking to maybe keeping him in the truck all year. And nice to see Die Hard back on. It's a 1-race deal, but you never know.
Riding with Boris Said in 5th.
Looking inside.
Matt Yoakum has caught up with Terry Cook as he comes out of the infield care center. Matt?
Eli, he walks out, which is good news. Terry, the bad news, you're out. What happened?
The throttle was stuck wide open on the first lap, going down the 3rd turn, and then basically demolished the truck. I hate it for this brand new sponsor coming aboard, Nokia cellular phones. We had a great qualifying effort here. We're looking for a good finish, and it wasn't meant to be.
Well, tough early exit for Terry Cook.
So Terry Cook there with his explanation as to what transpired as we watched Barfield in that green and gold truck, the Ortho colors, battling with Boris Said. Boris in the 44, Randy Tolsma in the 61.
Still there.
Riding with and listening to the Boris Said team. We're 11 laps complete.
Still there.
Of 167.
Clear.
So Boris Said holds Barfield at bay. And now Tolsma is to the inside in that silver and orange truck, and he'll make the move too. So give Tolsma 5th. Barfield is back to 6th. Of course, Barfield with a full commitment here to Hardy Racing. This same day, of course, the NASCAR Busch Series running in Texas, where Jeff Green is subbing for Barfield in the Busch Series car that Ricky Craven owns. And there's a good scramble. 14 is Crawford. To his inside, the black truck, that's Keselowski. That's 12th and 13th, and now Hornaday right along with them. We're riding with Ron Hornaday.
Another one behind him.
Well, we've sure definitely seen that the track configuration is made for good close racing. They're definitely not afraid to go around or underneath anybody right now.
And obviously that white line they've painted on the inside of the track, that's just for pretty.
I'm not even sure what that white line's there for. I don't. These guys are going down in the grass. They don't know what they're doing. They paint that line there for a reason, guys. You're not supposed to run underneath it, but it seems the way the track is, you almost have to run under the white line, and then in the center of the corner of the truck will push up a little.
14 laps on the board. Jack Sprague has led all but one of them, and there he is. Mile Track Jack leading on the 1.5-mile Homestead layout.
New LCI residential long-distance customers receive 30 minutes of free domestic calling and the World Card Plus calling card featuring participating drivers. Don't delay. Call now 1-888-TEAM-LCI.
Well, we told you he was running so well all weekend long until it counted here on race day. Randy Tolsma with problems in turns 1 and 2. And here's what happened, Bill.
Yeah, he's underneath Bickle. Actually, he was going for the spot, which he was running for 4th. And you can see the truck just gets loose on him. He's trying to keep it off the fence. No luck. He's going to clip the wall. Now, here's where really something could happen bad. I think everybody misses him.
Awfully close. Everybody got by. Watch it again. Truck breaks loose as he and Bickle are battling for 4th and 5th. Man, Keselowski had him in the crosshairs there and missed him.
Yeah, the truck just broke loose on him.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been air, but hard to say. And he hit the wall pretty hard. Oh, good job by Keselowski.
Great job by him and many others. We are seeing pit stops for some. Tammy Jo Kirk is in. There you see Tolsma's truck. It's still early in the afternoon, so the team is going to try and get Randy back in if at all possible. But here on lap 18, Joe Gaeta is in. That is he with the hood up. Tammy Jo Kirk in that yellow truck coming out of the pit road. She has been in. The 00 right behind her. That's Frank Kimmel also in. And if you're curious, yes, Tammy Jo Kirk in her own truck here this weekend. Interesting story, too. She's got a pit crew member who writes for the Wall Street Journal. They've been here following Tammy Jo all weekend. So those of you who read the Wall Street Journal might pick up a copy in the next few days and see exactly what they have to say about the world of racing from a pit crew member's perspective.
Also in the pits was 84 Wayne Anderson with the Porter Cable Power Tools Ford. Seemed like a good opportunity now. You got 18 laps under your belt. You kind of know what your truck is doing, if it's loose or tight. If you're running in the back of the pack right now's a perfect time to pit. You can make a chassis adjustment. It's going to be a long race. We know we're going to have a stop at lap 85. So if you can make an adjustment so you're not going to get lapped in the first half, this is the perfect time to do it.
Let's check in with Glenn Jarrett down on the pit lane.
Well, Eli, right now I'm hearing a lot of guys on the radio talk about bad pushes in the center of the corner. In fact, you know, Jay Sauter had that valve stem problem, had to go to the rear, and as he's working his way back up, he's radioing, telling his guys that everybody he comes up on has a bad push in the middle of the corner. Rick Crawford's people just handed me a note, said he also has a real bad push off the corner, and they're having to back out a little bit to try to save the right front tire. So I got a feeling that as soon as they can get into pits, we're going to see a lot of adjustments. Here's Matt.
Well, Glenn, Randy Tolsma's crew working on the truck. You can see the brake rotor in pieces. Randy completely dejected. Randy, what happened?
Passing the truck up beside me, Rich Bickle, just got a little bit loose off the corner and couldn't hang on. We've been real good. We are a great race truck. Dave Fuge and IWX Motor Freight team have done a fantastic job today. Just maybe a little greedy, I guess. So, we proved ourselves. We wanted to come here and do well, and we need to finish races. I just saw a hole and thought we could sneak through there, and it bit me a little bit.
Well, tough luck. He started 9th, hoping for a good run today. The crew's still working on the truck. Eli?
All right, Matt, thanks so much. We're getting set to go back to green. Jack Sprague is there ahead of Mike Bliss. Boris said Rich Bickle, Ron Barfield, Joe Ruttman, Tony Raines in that yellow truck, the Pennzoil machine there, started 15th, now running a strong 7th here on the restart, lap number 20.
Any of you Tony Raines fans or followers, you'll realize that he's no longer in a Dodge truck. He's now running a Ford. So, last year he won his first race at Odessa in the Dodge and actually brought Dodge their first win. And now he's switched emblems and he's running the Ford trucks right now.
Riding with Jimmy Hensley now. Jimmy's in 12th, and there's the spread from first back through that top dozen. Get around here in a hurry, riding with Mike Bliss now. Mike, who celebrates a birthday tomorrow, turns 33. Would love to give himself a nice little birthday gift. And speaking of birthdays, Bill France Jr., the president of NASCAR, here today, now is one of the owners of this Homestead Motorsports complex. And Mr. France celebrates his 65th today. So a big happy birthday to the president of NASCAR.
Going back to what Randy Tolsma said about got a little greedy, felt it, made a mistake. Boy, I know what that's like. When you have a truck that you know is fast, like we said earlier, it was always the top 3 fastest in practice. Goes out and qualifies 9th. He knows he should be running up front. Drops the green flag, and his truck's taking him there, and just gets a little too impatient. That comes with a little inexperience. I think after another year or two of running a full season, he'll definitely settle down and know when it's the right time to make that move.
That's 15th place right there. Corelli in the 6th truck, bringing Mike Wallace along with him, and they move by Keselowski. The 60, that's Andy Houston trying to hang on to a spot there. So the front 14 were single filed, and all of this breaks loose behind them. Still early, only 23 laps complete of 167. And 15th on back right there, middle of the screen. Riding with Ron Hornaday now. He's in 10th, Matt.
Well, Eli, the point leader, Ron Hornaday, and his crew, led by Fred Graves, had the fingers crossed at the beginning of the race. They had an engine vibration at the end of happy hour, so they changed motors. This engine had no laps on the track, so of course you always are wondering, did you get that fitting tight? Did you get this fitting tight? No leaks on the 16 truck, but he is fighting a tight condition. Ron is currently trying to work on some different lines to help, and of course they're working on what they're going to do to the truck at the halfway break.
Yeah, they did more than just an engine change this morning. I was in the garage area, and they were making a couple chassis changes. They felt that, they needed to find a little more than just an engine change.
You talked to Ron Keselowski this weekend. He and Bob Keselowski, the whole family here, talking about the handling on these trucks, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, you heard earlier that they were talking about the trucks pushing in the center of the corner. Mm-hmm. With the new configuration, the corners are so wide that you drive the truck into the corner, and normally you drive into the apex. You can almost drive almost to the center of the corner, which is the apex. You get off the throttle, turn the vehicle, get back on the throttle. What happens here is you drive it in so far, you never find the apex. You go into the corner, you let off the gas, you start to turn the truck, and then you pick up the throttle, and you're not even in the center of the corner yet. Well, what that does is the minute you pick up the throttle before you're in the center, it automatically creates a push in the truck. If you loosen it up too much to get you through the center, then you're loose coming off, and you may even be loose getting in. So you got to find that real fine, happy medium to be quick around the whole racetrack.
Good point. Max Sprague said the same thing. Very much like you see on other racetracks. Depending on who's in front of you, who's behind you. You can go from loose to tight in a heartbeat.
One turn. It's because of the characteristic of the racetrack.
By the way, Ron Hornaday right there, number 16, on Wednesday night. Lance Norrick had his truck over at the Miami Arena where the Panthers play in the NHL, and that was Wayne Anderson in that black shirt, and Hornaday right there in a go-kart race on the ice. That was between periods of the Florida Panthers Montreal Canadiens game, and Hornaday got the win, spun across the blue line for the victory.
Now, how could Hornaday win a race on ice? He's from California. He doesn't even know what it's like to race in cold weather.
Well, he did awfully well, and he's running up in 8th right now. the Napa Brakes truck is. So a lot of interesting stories here this week. But the most interesting has been that man right there, Jack Sprague. Quick all week, and no one's touched him yet today. We're coming right back.
Brought to you by LA West Luxury Vans, the world's ultimate sport utility vehicle. LA West Luxury Vans, available at select Ford dealerships nationwide. Call us at 800-786-VANS.
Caution is on the speedway. Pit stops the name of the game here at lap number 30. Everybody, with the exception of Mike Bliss, have come down the pit road for service. Pit stop, Glenn Jarrett.
The main one, Eli, is truck number 24, Jack Sprague. They have put fuel in it. Jack stalls the truck when he takes off. He lost the spot to Rich Bickle. Crew Chief Dennis Conner made a chassis adjustment on both sides. I'm going to talk to Dennis in a minute and find out exactly what was wrong with the truck. I certainly couldn't see much wrong with it.
I don't know why you'd make a chassis change when you're leading like this. You know, you kind of just hope that the truck will stay where it's at. But, you know, we're not behind the seat of the truck to know of what it's really doing.
In addition to Bliss, who did not pit, a couple of the teams that pitted early back on lap number 18 during the other caution, the second caution, they too have not stopped. Tammy Joe Kirk stayed out, and Frank Kimmel also stayed out. Matt Yoakum.
Well, catching up with Barry Dodson. Barry, you guys decided to stay out. Most everybody came in. Why stay out?
Well, there was no decision to it after Disney. You know, we just didn't get that good of mileage, and you know, we won't have track position, but I don't guess we'll need a wrecker either. We just hadn't gone quite far enough yet for us to come in here, and when we get to that point, we'll do it.
Some teams thought they could go to maybe lap 35 on their short pitting window, as most trucks can only go about 55 total laps to 58 total laps on fuel here at Homestead.
All right, those numbers depend on whether you're in a Dodge, a Ford, or a Chevy, but that's the general numbers, as Matt tells you. The reason we're under caution is that truck right there, Brian Reffner, who was just tooling along, running well in 8th. And, Bill, here's what happened behind the palm.
Yeah, you can't see what he cut the tire. You can definitely tell that, and you can see part of the tire comes apart. That's what's actually ripped the fender off. Don't know if he ran over something, or it doesn't look like anybody got into him.
Meanwhile, Boris Shed remains on the pit lane. The hood goes up.
Right. Come on, Boris, go a little faster. Whoa, right. Left. Whoa. That's too much. Go to the right. Right. Stop.
What exactly are they working on there, Bill?
I'm not quite sure what they're doing.
Boris is saying 1 lap penalty for passing a pace car.
Oh.
Right there.
That was on top of everything else. He passed the pace truck and is going to be held for a penalty, but that has nothing to do with what's going on under the hood right now.
Yeah, I know they were telling him to move the wheel to the right.
The pace car, Lee.
They were stringing the truck.
Coming into the pit.
I could see that they were trying to string the truck, but he must have bumped somebody, and they're trying to reset the toe. He must have got
off the apron, just into the pit.
What they're talking about is the fact that the entrance to the pit lane here at Homestead is actually entering turn 3. And as you run onto that entry road, if you will, you must not pass the pace truck that remains out on the racetrack. You can draw parallel if you're in line to do so, but you can't pull up getting set to pit.
Right, you can't even pull up, if you pull up 2 trucks even to improve your position. That's considered, I don't know if he actually passed the pace car, but he must have passed a couple trucks that were in front of him, and that's the 1 lap penalty.
So they'll be issuing the penalty. Meanwhile, the crew going to work there and finishing up all that needs to be done. Jay Smith is the crew chief for the SEMO racing team. Mark SEMO, the team owner.
You know, at first you'd think that the Mike Bliss decision on not to pit wasn't a good choice, but you know, we have to go to lap 85, 85 before we have the halfway break.
Right.
So if he couldn't get 55 laps on the truck, and they know that, there was no sense in pitting. He'd actually run out of gas. He'd have to pit again. With that break at lap 85, track position isn't going to be critical right now. Now, if it happens in the second half of the race, where he waits this long to pit, then he's got to go through the whole field in less than half of the race.
You see Randy Tolsma's truck being pushed towards the garage stall after his accident at lap 17. Glenn Jarrett has an update on Brian Reffner.
Well, guys, what happened to Brian? This happened way earlier in the race. Somebody got into the left rear of the number 66 truck. put a fender in on the tire, rubbed the tire, and it finally cut it down. Also, I told you I'd find out about Jack Sprague, why they made an adjustment. Dennis Conner said the truck was tight in the middle, a little bit loose off, so he adjusted the wedge and the track bar.
And with that, we are going back to green with Mike Bliss showing the race lead. Picking and choosing their way through. Tony Roper right there never did come up to speed. There's another truck directly ahead of him also that also hasn't come up to speed on the start. The 06, that's Randy McDonald from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, subbing in the truck that Billy Pouch was to have normally driven.
Usually that's a sign when you go to shift on the restart, the transmission gets locked in between gears and he's either stuck in first or second gear wherever he was going to restart. Now, I'm not sure that's what happened, but usually when that happens on a restart, that's what you'll find is the problem.
First place is Bliss. Second is Tammy Jo Kirk, having not made a stop. Third is Sprague, Rich Bickle, and Ron Barfield, the top 5.
And race fans, the 1998 Team Simpson Racing Catalog is now available. For more information, call 1-800-71-RACIN or visit the Simpson website at simpsonraceproducts.com and join Team Simpson today.
There is the race leader, Mike Bliss, who did not make a pit stop. Of course, he came before the pit stops and everybody else came in. He was second, and by virtue of staying on the racetrack, he is now in front. Forrest said, of course, of the problems he had. There you see some of the other top runners, and now they did. Again, Jay Sauter now all the way back up to 10th spot after having to make that pit stop on lap number 3. And there you see Sauter in the 3, and Tony Raines right behind him in the 11 truck. What's the deal on Raines? What are you guys hearing down on pit road?
Eli, on the restart, Tony Raines dropped from 6th to 11th. He has lost first, second, and possibly third gear. Fourth gear appears to be good at this point. They're hoping to nurse the truck to the halfway point. Bad news for Tony Roper. They believe they've either lost an engine or a transmission.
What does that actually, from the mechanical standpoint, Bill, when the guy loses a bunch of gears? I mean, is it a grind them till you find them kind of situation? Do you overdo it just like that, or what?
Yeah, usually usually it happens on a restart. You miss a shift, or you go to pull it into a gear and you pull too hard. The teeth mesh, breaks one tooth. Well, the minute that one tooth breaks, it gets caught in the other gears, takes out 1 or 2 or 3 of the gears. Pretty well this early in the race. Usually if you've lost first, second, and third gear, you're not going to finish the race because eventually it's going to take out fourth gear. And if it doesn't ruin the transmission, every time you try to stop or have a restart, you're only in high gear and you end up using up the clutch.
I hear you. That's third on back. That track, or that pack of traffic you're seeing right there. Third on back, Bickle, Tammy Jo Kirk, Ron Barfield is 5th. Hornaday is now up to 6th. Corelli is 7th. Andy Houston is 8th. Greg Biffle is 9th. Jay Sauter is 10th. Tony Raines 11th. Mike Wallace is 12th. Stacy Compton is 13th. Rob Rizzo 14th. And Keselowski is 15th. They are all in that big pack of traffic there front and center. Folks from Vent Visor, Auto Vent Shade, bringing you the NASCAR timing and scoring update across the top of the screen. And as you see on the right-hand side, 125 laps remaining.
I'm not Gary Dodson right now. I'm going to start to worry here. I'm going to have to look at a different strategy. Even though my truck's leading the race, we've run 43 laps, and we know we can only go, 50 laps or 52 laps before we run out of fuel. And if there's not a yellow, we're going to have to pit under green. So, this may have backfired.
Joe Gaeta, as you just saw there, going behind the wall. Joining Terry Cook, Randy Tolsma, Tony Roper, and now Gaeta. This is for 9th place on back. Sauter is the 3 truck. He's in 9th. Raines goes by him. The 50 of Greg Biffle will go by as well. Very talented young driver for Jack Roush Racing. riding with 7th place runner Hornaday now, who closes in on Barfield and the Remax truck of Corelli. 3 wide.
And under the white line.
Again, the white line is just there because they had an extra gallon of paint to use, I think.
Clear.
Nobody's paying attention to that white line at all. Again, Hornaday looking rearward now. Andy Houston challenging to his outside. You heard the spotter say, look outside. And now look inside.
Yeah.
Corelli's inside.
And it seems like Hornaday gets a good run for 1 or 2 laps, passes about 2 or 3 trucks, and then all of a sudden he slips and slides, and everybody gets right back around him again. At one point, he was up to 4th.
That's 6th spot.
Behind him.
And he's in line, just ahead of Biffle. Can't quite keep the low side of the racetrack. You see that, Hornaday?
Yeah, he's definitely pushing right in the center. And I know Fred Grazer talked to him this morning, and they were concerned about that. So they actually put a stiffer right rear spring in it to help turn it. It doesn't look like they went good. It went far enough. But, you know, it could be, he might be able to change the track bar, which will also help in the center.
That's the race leader, Mike Bliss. A quick timeout, then we're back with more from Homestead. Don't leave us here on TNN Motorsports. Winnebago Industries, the official motorhome of TNN. Stop by your local Winnebago or Tasca dealer now and see the new models available. For more information on the Winnebago Motorsports team, please call 1-800-643-4892, extension 2. Today's broadcast from Homestead also sponsored by Featherlight Trailers, the official trailers of NASCAR, CART, the IRL, and a major sponsor of the NHRA. Remember to call Featherlight for all of your trailer needs at 800-800-1230 or 319-547-6000. Mike Bliss is the leader as we welcome you back to Homestead. Eli Gold, Bill Venturini, Glenn Jarrett, and Matt Yoakum on hand for race number 2 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season. Good scramble, middle of the field. Andy Houston in the 60, Raines in the 19, Barfield in the 35. That is 6th, 7th, and 8th right now. Had a nice chat with Martha Houston, the matriarch of that family, of Andy Houston's family. As you see, problems from Mike Wallace right there as he slows on the racetrack in the number 52 Dayco entry. There's Raines now, and he's in the 19. Hornaday couldn't sneak by. I was about to say that Martha Houston said how nice it was to be back at the track, and for Tommy Houston, of course, the great Busch Series racer, he fills his need for speed, she said, by working on Andy's truck.
Boy, I can relate to that. And everyone asks me about my transition from the race car up to the booth. That's helped, but having my son run the full ARCA schedule for next year, working on the cars in the shop all day long, really has fulfilled my need for the racing part, and I'm really enjoying it.
Meanwhile, Glenn Jarrett, we've been on the air here for about 40-some-odd minutes of racing. We have not mentioned Joe Ruttman's name. It's because he's running all the way back in 27th position. What's the deal?
Well, Eli, we just did mention his name, but not for a good reason. He is way back. The reason, the truck is really, really tight. He just cannot turn it through the corners or off the corners, so they're just having to sit there and ride. They told him to try to be patient. They would fix it on the next stop, or try to. Also, we just got word Mike Wallace, who had a top 15 run going, broke the engine. He blew up, so he'll be coming in shortly.
And indeed, he is coasting on around the racetrack. So engine failure for Mike Wallace, who ran in the top 5 for most of the day at Walt Disney, but finished 24th. And you see him right there going to the garage. Here is Mike Bliss, who elected not to pit. He pitted not with everybody else on lap 29, but is in now at lap 53.
Well, I guess it was about 52 or 53 laps that Barry felt he could run.
Matt Yoakum, leaders go on by.
A wedge adjustment for Mike Bliss as the leaders go on by. He took on 1.5 cans of gasoline, which should take them to the halftime break.
Only about 12 7/10 seconds of actual stopping time on the racetrack. Jack Sprague is the race leader. 53 laps are complete. Again, the halfway point for the Gatorade Front Runner Award comes up in just about another 30 laps from now.
It looks like Mike Bliss is definitely going to beat Sprague out of the pits, so he's not going to go a lap down.
We'll see how much the difference is. There is the race leader. And Bliss is ahead of him by about 20 truck lengths. Will pull back, not that red truck, but there is Bliss exiting turn 4. So they do get that fuel in, and he will not lose a lap to that man, Jack Sprague. Gutsy call, but he had no choice.
No, I don't know. I guess 52 laps, if they would have pitted at the first yellow, they wouldn't be able to go the whole way.
So it all kind of settles down now as it all cycles back on around. Jack Sprague assuming the lead again at lap number 53. We are coming right back. Back with you here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. 57 laps are on the board. Caution on the speedway for debris on the racetrack. Updating the storylines that we talked about when we signed on the air. The Cintas rookies this year. 11 of them going for Rookie of the Year honors. And there's Andy Houston running 7th. Greg Biffle in 8th. Scott Walters running in 16th. Awfully fine showing, Glenn Jarrett, for a bunch of young guys.
Oh, absolutely. And right at the top of the pack right now is the pride of Hickory, North Carolina, Andy Houston. And I've got his dad, Tommy Houston. All you race fans know Tommy for many years in the NASCAR Busch Series. And what about that boy?
Yeah, he's running pretty good. He just complained a little while ago about some of the veterans wouldn't go with him when he wanted to draft around somebody. And you know, Rick Ryan just kept telling him, he said, well, just show him what you want done. And I think they've kind of got him a little hot now, so he's marched on up there. But we're all proud of Andy. He's done a good job. Mike Addington, the whole crew. Rick Ryan done a heck of a job on setting this truck up.
Are you nervous?
Well, I'm as nervous as what Barney Hall said that time at the awards banquet in New York. I'm telling you it is. I won't go into that, but yeah, I am, Glenn.
We're not going to let him go now. Let's take a look right up here. There's Houston's everywhere. Tommy's here. Scott, who was Tommy's crew chief. And up top, that's Rick Wren. He's the crew chief now. They just told me that if Andy continues to run this way, they're going to adopt him, so it'll be Rick Houston.
There's Andy Houston right there. That truck, as he said, owned by Mike Addington, who is a big Kentucky Wildcat fan. And on that truck right there is a sticker that says, right there behind the 6 on the 60, it says UK #1. You can circle it there. I don't know if you, there it is, UK #1 national champs in honor of Tubby Smith and the fellows who won the NCAA tournament. Right now, time for our AutoZone Tech Fact. Barry Dodson teaching us about spoilers.
Right here's an area where Winston Cup make most of their rule changes. It's called the rear spoiler. They do it with height. We don't do that in the Craftsman Truck Series. We actually have an option. It's a pretty neat one. Let me show you what it is. We can run between a 6-inch spoiler height and a 7-inch spoiler height. That's optional for all 3 manufacturers. It's a great tuning device for whatever racetrack we might be at. We have to make the right guess. We have to determine the right height that we want to run that weekend. We have to determine the right angle that we want to run that weekend and hope that it gives us an advantage in our performance that day.
We thank Barry Dodson for that update. And Bill, it does give you some options to play with, doesn't it?
Boy, what a nice rule. You know, if like the Winston Cup guys, they're all arguing about 1/4 of an inch here, 1/8 of an inch there. They let these guys have an inch. You can change it any way you want. You can create downforce or you can take it away. Boy, I wish they had that in every division. Then you wouldn't have to worry about guys complaining about the rules.
I hear you. Spoken like a racer right there, Bill Venturini. 59 laps on the board. Jack Sprague is the leader. We're back with more in a moment. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400 is being brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Super 8 Motels, over 1,600 throughout Canada and the United States. Welcome back to the battle for the lead here in Homestead. Jack Sprague, the 24, Andy Houston in the 60, Rick Corelli in the 6, all going for the lead at lap 62.
You know, you look at Houston running second, talking about his crew chief, Rick Wren. That was Rick Corelli's crew chief last year.
Indeed.
So now you've got, both trucks, the truck he worked on last year and the one he's working on this year, second and third.
Craig just powers away, though. Good third and fourth place battle there. You see Corelli in the 6 and Hornaday trying to the outside, and here comes Jay Sauter in the number 3 truck. Biffle right behind as well in the 50, and Barfield. And there's Rich Bickle right there in the middle of that pack. Matt Bickle going wide in the corners, though he can't stay low. He's running 6th, but he drops some distance in the corners.
Eli, he was a little slow in that last restart. He may have some transmission trouble. His spotter told Darren Northleet, Ron Hornaday's spotter, during that caution, keep an eye on our truck because we may have some transmission trouble. And keep an eye on us because we may be slow on that restart. We may have lost second and maybe third gear, but he only lost 2 positions on the restart.
Meanwhile, Hornaday and Corelli, Bill, with a good battle right there for third.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but last lap, Hornaday was in the outside, Corelli was on the inside. They run one lap that way, now they switch. Corelli takes the inside. Hornaday does. Now you got Jay Sauter just underneath Corelli. I think they touched right there, but it looks like Hornaday was able to get by him clean now running on the inside.
And there, look at Biffle in the 50, just working inside, outside.
He's not driving like
no. Well, he's a rookie in this series, but Greg Biffle certainly a hugely talented driver from many forms of racing. Finished 5th at Walt Disney World in the season opener. I mean, you get tabbed by Jack Roush. You're good.
You're good.
You're good. Just joining us, Terry Cook out after an accident. The same with Randy Tolsma. Transmission problems for Tony Roper, Joey Gaeta, Randy McDonald, Mike Wallace with engine problems, and Doug George went behind the wall just a short while ago. Doug George now re-emerges from the garage. He's back on the racetrack. Look at this scramble right there. Rick Crawford in that blue number 14.
Barfield running in the 35 truck, the Oregon truck, trying to go 3 wide. Wisely so, they brought it down at least 2 in turn 1.
Randy McDonald, if you're a fan of the Canadian driver, has just come back onto the racetrack. He is 32 laps down, McDonald is, but he's back on the racetrack. I told you about Doug George returning. He made 1 lap and has gone behind the wall again. Still 28 trucks on the lead lap. Race has been slowed 4 times by caution. 1 for Terry Cook, 1 for Randy Tolsma, Brian Ruffner with a tire problem, and then debris on the racetrack. You've had 17 laps of caution out of the 67 that we've run.
Well, we're looking at the Mike Bliss truck right there. And if you remember, he almost was a lap down.
Looked like he caught the wall. He sure did.
Blew a tire.
Get me on the pits, Eddie.
He's
come
talking.
on, buddy, come on.
They're talking to Eddie Thrapp, who is the spotter.
2 more to go. 2 more. Okay, there you go. There you go. 1 pit away, guys. 1 pit away. Might have to pick up.
Look at the right front of the truck, folks.
Get the jack under it. No gas.
Caution is going to come out on the speedway because Bliss put some sheet metal down in the middle of the back straightaway after he apparently rubbed the wall following that tire problem. So caution is out. Lap number 69. Let's take a look at what happened, Bill. It was just after we left him when we were riding there.
I'm not sure if he blew a tire or not. You see, he slowed down. So he knew something was happening right there. Now, you can see dust coming off the back of the truck. I don't think he's hit the wall yet.
I'm saying that on the replay here. I don't think he ever touched the wall.
No.
I saw no marks on the wall. He did a heck of a job.
He had to feel the tire go down because you can see all of a sudden he slowed down. All the smoke we saw was the flat tire and actually the fender flapping.
Lap 69, Matt Yoakum.
Well, Mike Bliss is currently being held at the end of pit road. Barry Dodson talking over with the official. I talked to Jimmy Smith. He told me He believes that Bliss might have got into contact with somebody and cut the tire down. At this moment, that's all I know. They're thinking about bringing him back in to put some duct tape on that right front fender, which is a little bit flapping in the wind.
Come in this time.
Barry Dodson talking to his driver about what they'll do when they come onto the pit road this time. Jack Sprague still leads in Homestead. Field getting the 1 to go signal. We will be back to work next time by with Jack Sprague as the race leader. Hey, Bill Venturini, are you into video games?
Well, it depends.
Well, I'll tell you, you're a racer, and if you like video games, you need to check out TNN Motorsports' new Hardcore 4x4 for the Sony PlayStation and the Sega Saturn system. It's in stores right now, and you'll see, I watched the other day, and you'll see fenders crunching and wheels busting and doors flying off. It kind of gets real. It really does. Kind of think you got to start cleaning the mud off your TV screen. It's so real. Check it out, folks. Hardcore 4x4. It is available now. You can even get information online at the computer site, country.com, TNN's home on the computer world, your source for all things country. They'll give you details on the Hardcore 4x4 system. Jack Sprague restarts with the lead. Andy Houston second, Hornaday third, Sauter fourth, Biffle fifth.
You can see on the inside lane, the third truck back is Mike Bliss. He ended up losing a lap with that flat tire, but he's been quick. We'll see if he can make it up. 2 rookies in the top 5 on the restart.
Green flag.
All the spotters chime in, and we are indeed going green. Chris Morgan of Santa Barbara, California, with the green flag in the air. Boris said not coming up to speed. Boris has had problems today in the 44. We're riding with him now. Corelli going by. Boris already in 30th, a couple of laps down.
He had a couple penalties today. He had insult to injury after he had some problems come in to make a pit, and then he ends up having a penalty for a pit road violation.
Sprague, Houston, Hornaday. 1, 2, 3. Sauter up to 4th. Biffle is 5th. Corelli is 6th. Rich Bickle is 7th. Stacy Compton running strong in 8th. They hung a brand new body on Compton's truck specifically for this race. There's more science to it than just slapping sheet metal on a chassis, on a rolling chassis.
You're sitting there waiting for me to say something. Yeah, when you're running 150 miles an hour, the air plays a big part on you. It can be like, it can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And the trucks, they're not supposed to be really aerodynamic, but you can do enough on them that where if you're going to run a racetrack this fast, that you got to do some stuff that you wouldn't do on a short track truck, and it'll help you.
They still do have that blunt nose.
Yeah, there's not too much you can do with the nose, but you can, granted, NASCAR's got all the templates, so you can't fudge a lot. But there are some areas where you can change a little, which will help you. There's no doubt about it. They've even had these trucks in the wind tunnels now. So there's something there, or else they wouldn't be spending the time or the money to go to wind tunnels.
There's Mike Bliss right there, the number 2 truck. Again, one of the quickest machines out there.
We're all round. We're all round.
Unfortunately, he's a lap down, Matt Yoakum, running in 28th.
Barry Dodson is Mike Bliss's crew chief. Any idea what happened to the tire?
He said it exploded going into turn 3. We paid our dues on the mileage there, stayed in the lead lap. We're working our way back to the front. We're trying to get that lap back before the half. Had one of my best little friends get hurt yesterday at Texas, Hank Parker Jr. I hope he's okay, and God bless him. He means a lot to me, and I know Derek Cope's hurt a little bit, and we want to wish those guys well.
Any idea how bad the damage is in the front of the truck?
There's a brand new nose on the car, and it's pretty significant, so we don't need to get it altered. We need to keep it in good shape, and that's what we'll do at the half. We'll try to get the nose back in the shape it needs to be at the half. It's pretty pivotal for us.
Well, another guy who got some bad luck because of Mike Bliss was Ron Hornaday. He ran over some tire debris and now is complaining he might have a vibration in the right front of his truck.
There you see how Mike Bliss's numbers look, and we ride with him right now. And talking about the half, if you're new to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, there is a 5-minute break halfway through. So at lap 84, halfway through, they will give the $2,000 Gatorade Front Runner Award to the leading truck. Then the next time by, there'll be a caution. Everybody will come down pit road and put on fresh tires and make whatever changes they'd like. But hey, Bliss is moving in on Andy Houston, who's running second, and Bill, he seems to be trucking around pretty well.
Definitely, like we said, he was one of the fastest trucks. Unfortunately, he's only got about 8 more laps, and he's got to get around Sprague. If he can catch him, that's one thing, but getting around him is going to be another.
And there you see the differential of
into the half, Mike. Go get
1.037 seconds, according to the computer as it comes by.
And if you're Jack Sprague, you know you don't want Mike Bliss on the same lap. So he's going to do all he can to keep him behind him.
That's a good look at how quickly you run down the back straightaway here at Homestead Motorsports Complex. And there's Jack Sprague widening back now to Bliss right there. And again, that's not second place. The orange and red truck is in second, Andy Houston. Bliss just trying to get back on that lead lap. Rich Bickle now in that black and orange number 17. He'll work to the outside of the 55.
Ice House
Dave Resendiz
truck.
Yep, there's Dave, with whom we're riding now. Dave's wife is due any day now. They are expecting an addition to the family.
Congratulations,
yeah,
Dave.
Michelle and Dave are expecting. Hey, they're moving into a new house tomorrow.
Oh.
The Resendizes are.
New house,
new house, new child.
Boy, what an adjustment in life.
They've been living, the Resendiz family has been living in a little apartment that's attached to Randy LaJoy's race shop. But Randy's family is coming down to visit next week, so the Resendiz had to clear out. They're moving into their new house tomorrow. Michelle called yesterday and says, Dave, I'm at the house. There's no hot water. What am I going to do? He said, calm down. We'll get it all taken care of. But real-life problems for the stars of NASCAR.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
But that battle right there is a good one. Bickle in 15th. That's he in the 17 truck. And Resendiz.
You can see on the back of that truck that new Tyler Jet logo. That's the new owner of the team.
'99, that's Joe Ruttman.
And look at Chuck Bound.
Yeah, old Chuck Bound there in the 57. Working around one of Jack Roush's trucks. Joe Ruttman, of course, is a Roush driver. So, too, technically, is Chuck Bound. When the sponsorship went away after the season opener, he's still under contract to Jack Roush, being paid by Jack Roush. We're speaking of Chuck Bound here. But Jack said, hey, if you can find a ride elsewhere, go ahead and do so. And Chuck shows up here for the weekend. Tom Sokolowski is the crew chief on that truck. That's, of course, the man who was Tim Steele's crew chief in ARCA
for a couple of years. Yep.
It's Mark and Tony Gibson own that truck. Good for Chuck. He's caught right in there with Bickle in 16th. Tammy Jo Kirk there in that yellow truck to the inside. She's in 17th. And we're just 2 laps shy of halfway now. We're riding with Butch Miller. That's the Dana Dodge.
Boy, has he got a good incentive offered to him this year.
Yeah,
the Dana Corporation. Yeah, the Daytona Dash for Cash. If he wins this race, he gets a $10,000 bonus. They pick six races out of the season that if he wins 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or all 6, it starts out at a $10,000 bonus. Then it goes, if he wins the second race, it's $25. If he wins the third race, it's $50.
And it goes up to $500,000.
It goes up to $500,000 if he can win 6 of the 6 races.
And that Dana Dodge is a team truck to Lance Norrick's NHL truck. Lance and Ron Norrick own both of them.
Yeah, I've got it. You know, the Dana Corporation's been really good. They were a little associate sponsor with us at the ARCA race in Daytona. And, you know, Butch has been sick all week. He had the flu, and they actually took him to the hospital for shots. And the Dana Corporation asked my son Billy to come in and stand in as a relief driver for him.
Halfway home, Jack Sprague leads. He has won the $2,000 Gatorade Front Runner Award. And there he is. He'll be coming to the caution now. This is going to be for the halfway break. Jack Sprague leading here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex in the Florida Dodge Dealers 400K. Caution on the speedway at halfway. We're coming up with more. You stick around. We'll go to the pits in a moment. Halfway through the Florida Dodge Dealers 400K, Eli Gold, Bill Venturini, Glenn Jarrett, and Matt Yoakum. Hey, the rookies are doing great. Andy Houston and Greg Biffle. I don't know if there's anybody in the ballpark going to touch Jack Sprague.
Well, the only truck is Mike Bliss, and he's a lap down. But that's not going to be I feel, a big problem right now, because when they come back out, he's going to be the first truck on the inside lane right next to Jack Sprague.
Good shot to get the lap back. Well, let's see how much work is going to take place here during this halftime stop. Of course, fresh sticker tires. That's the tires that still have the sticker on them from Goodyear, the manufacturer. Brand new tires and a number of other adjustments. There's Jack Sprague and the crew, Dennis Conner.
Well, let's see if Dennis is going to make another chassis change.
Well, Glenn, what are they going to do?
Well, you know, I can't wait to tell Jack Sprague this, because Dennis told me that, yeah, we might change a couple of springs, something like that, but I think they were just kidding around. Boy, that's an awesome truck you got, Jack.
Well, I tell you, the old Chevrolet's running awful good. I'm glad to Quaker State and VMAC and Rotary Rip and AC, but that two truck's awful strong. You know, if I could keep them a lap down, things would be a lot easier, but other than that, this baby's running good.
I have to ask you a question. Did you see him coming down pit road and make sure you kept him behind you when he was on pit road, when the caution came out?
Well, I tried to get him a lap down when he stopped for fuel, and I didn't get it done there. So, you know, he's just having a little bit of bad luck, but he's running awful well.
Well, you guys are exactly right. He knows who his main competition is. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Well, Glenn, I've caught up with the point leader, Ron Hornaday Jr. Ron, the truck was loose and it was tight. Now it's neutral. What changes are you going to make during the halftime?
I don't think we're going to make any. I think it was all the way I was driving the darn thing. I kept going up the embankment and all that, but I'll tell you what, Fred Graves and this crew just made an awesome choice. And found a problem with that motor last night with the oil line collapsed, and last time we got runs. I mean, I had to abuse it the first half. We're in a position where we can stay. Now we can save the tires and have something for the end.
You said on the radio you think you might have run over some debris from Mike Bliss's tire. Any damage to the truck?
I thought I started vibrating real bad, and I thought maybe I cut a tire, but it was just flat spot because I had to get on the brakes pretty hard when I got up into the back of somebody. Just bit the balance and made the truck tight. Other than that, these guys are awesome. We'll see if we can bring this thing home. You know, I just got to thank Action Collectibles, so they've always helped us out. We'll see what we can do.
Well, he looks pretty good for the second half. Eli?
All right, Bill Venturini has something to add about that.
I couldn't quite see it on the telestrator here, but yeah, my daughter dates one of the guys that helps on the Hornaday truck. If you ever hear Ron talk about his transmissions and he gets the good starts, that's Gordy Arbiter. He's the one that does all the gears and transmissions for Earnhardt and Earnhardt Incorporated, and that's who my daughter's been dating for about 4 years now.
We are at the halftime break here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. Jack Sprague leading Andy Houston, Ron Hornaday third, Rick Corelli is fourth, and Greg Biffle is fifth. You know, folks, on Tuesday, NASCAR lost one of the true legends of our sport. Tim Flock passed away after a long bout with cancer. One of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers, Flock won 40 races during the 40s, 50s, and 60s en route to 2 championships. A member of the colorful Flock family, he's remembered for his unusual antics, and I guess one of the most famous episodes was Jocko Flocko, the first NASCAR monkey. Tim Flock's passing is mourned by the entire racing community. Tim Flock passing away at the age of 73.
Radios. For all your business and racing communications needs, as well as scanners and frequency lists, call on Racing Radios at 1-800-669-1522.
Let's quickly go down to Glenn Jarrett before they get set to roll the trucks for the second half.
Eli, a great first half for rookie driver Andy Houston out of Hickory, North Carolina. I'm proud to say my hometown. Great job, Andy. I heard you talking on the radio. You weren't getting a lot of respect from some of the veterans. I think you're earning it now.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, this is a really awesome race team, and we got halfway down, we got halfway to go, and we feel like we got a good shot at this thing. Made some adjustments, and we're going to see what we can do.
Well, best of luck to you. Keep a cool head out there and give them hell in the second half. I'll tell you what, guys, They made a very slight air pressure adjustment, and they changed the timing. Rick Wren said the weather had changed, so they changed the timing. Now let's go to Matt.
Rick Corelli has made it up to fourth. Rick, you've had a trouble-filled first half, so to speak. Radio trouble, vapor lock trouble. What'd you guys do to the truck during the halftime?
I think the truck's real good. The Remax Chevrolet's been handling real good. We had a vapor problem there once we got up into second. I don't know, we put some more strap on the hose here and see what we got. We got a pretty good truck. Hopefully we can race them to the front.
What's going to be the strategy for the gas stop in the second half?
Probably try and outsmart everybody else. You know, we got a fast enough truck to be in the front, but basically you're going to have to pit when everybody else is pitting to see where they're at.
Well, these guys lost a heartbreaker last year at Las Vegas. He came up 3 laps short of victory.
Bill Venturini, quickly, what is vapor lock he was talking about?
What he's talking about is the engine compartment gets so hot that the gas actually starts to boil in the fuel line. Like he said, they had to wrap up the hose a little more, probably meaning the fuel line, probably from the fuel pump to the carburetor, was getting too hot. The gas actually starts to bubble or vaporize in the line, and you start to pump air instead of the fuel.
That's Bill Venturini. I'm Eli Gold, TNN Motorsports. With you here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. The restart when we come back. Getting set to go back to green here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. Of course, pit stops having taken place seconds ago. And now the pit roundup. Who's where? He's there.
Well, Eli, Kurt Rourke looking over the Pennzoil guys, working feverishly on the Pennzoil truck. He changed the transmission during the halftime break. It looks like you might have come up 1 minute short.
Yeah, it looks so. I mean, the Pennzoil Yellow Freight Ford F-150 was just awesome today. Tony was too. He passed everybody at will, had to keep coming back up. We start doing the restarts in 4th gear, not coming through the gears. It's still a great truck. He's going to get back out there. I'm sure he'll make up a lap or two on the field. But they're getting ready to come to the green right as we're speaking, so I guess we're going to cut off to them.
Well, they're going green, Eli.
They are indeed. Kurt Rohrig, a very, very talented member of this NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series family. Green in the air for Jack Sprague.
Yeah, I think almost any of the competitive teams today use his shock dynos. Rohrig shock dyno. I know we just purchased one this year.
There you go. So far clean on that restart. Bliss working the outside, still not able to get back on the lead lap.
Hornaday had a run on scratch coming off the 4, just couldn't get it to stick.
Now a couple of cagey old veterans right there. That's OL apostrophe, not old. OL apostrophe veterans. Jack Sprague, the only driver to post 2 consecutive top 5 finishes here.
See that little move down the back straightaway by Jack Sprague, actually trying to not let Ron Hornaday draft off him.
Coming inside. He's inside.
Listening into Ron Hornaday's radio.
Behind him. Clear low.
Front 2 trucks are the first and second on the leaderboard. Then you had the lap trucks, and now back to the next pack right here. Greg Biffle to the inside. Sauter in the 3. Stacy Compton in the 86. Tony Raines making a pit stop now here at lap number 87.
He's just coming out from getting the transmission put in.
He's back on the racetrack now. He'll find himself a number of laps down. He'll be a couple of laps back in 29th. There is Raines on the inside of the track coming up to speed. Lonnie Rush making an unscheduled pit stop at lap number 88. Just underway in the second half of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400. Biffle in the number 50 truck. Crawford in the 14. That's 5th and 6th. Tony Raines coming back down pit road. He was too fast exiting the pit lane moments ago. He'll get a stop-and-go penalty.
Yeah, it should have looked like stop-and-go penalty for going down pit road too fast.
There again, you've got Biffle, Crawford, Sauter, Stacy Compton. If you're a Randy Nelson fan, he pits unscheduled at lap number 89. Nelson from El Cajon, California, is on the pit road as we watch this ongoing battle here. Biffle was 5th at Orlando, as you see. Crawford, who turned 45 just the other day in that number 14 truck.
Boy, Biffle's really been giving that Granger Ford a good run today.
Really has. Again, that's 5th, 6th, and 7th on the screen. Widening out to 8th place now. Compton in the 86th. Keselowski in 9th. He's next in line. Then Brian Refner running in 10th after his problems earlier when he had that tire go down on lap number 28. 55 is Resendiz. Scott Walters in the 37. That's 12th and 13th. Lonnie Rush goes behind the wall. They thought they had a top 5 or 6 truck today. Folks at Napa bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring. There goes Barfield. You see him there, Bill, in that green and yellow
on the outside,
truck.
Yeah, trying to use the outside lane around Rich Biffle.
That would be for 16th spot.
And Refner slowing up.
Yep, Brian Refner has a problem. Meanwhile, here goes Bliss in the 2. Can he get a lap back? He is a lap down to that white truck, the 24 of Sprague.
You know, if you're Jack Sprague right now, you let him go. I mean, he's only going for a lap. It's not like you're racing him for position. The worst thing you want to do is have him race with you side by side for 1 or 2 laps, maybe slip, take you both out. Now's when Dennis should be telling Jack to just let him go, let him get his lap back, because Bliss isn't going to quit now. He's not going to give up till he gets it.
Again, this is not for the lead, but it is for the 2 truck, Mike Bliss, to get back on the lead lap, which he will do right there. He'll be clear. And you hear the spotter, Eddie Frapp, saying you're clear. So he's now in 25th spot, tail end of the lead lap.
You can see on that right front fender on the corner something flapping. That's just tape, because earlier when he blew a tire, the tire had ripped up part of the front nose, and when they came back in, they just put tape on it.
There you see, good battle. Scott Walters in the 37 grabs the spot away from Dave Resendiz. So Walters up to 11th, Resendiz in 12th now. Kevin Harvick right behind the 75 truck, Spears Manufacturing entry.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about him today, but he's really given it a good grind.
Really has, very quietly been hanging around.
And that Spears truck, that's one of the mainstay teams with this truck series. They were there from the beginning, and they've been here ever since.
Yeah, they've been a mainstay on West Coast racing.
West Coast racing, yes.
From NASCAR Winston West to the Featherlight Southwest Tour.
I know Ron Hornaday drove for that team also.
Bill Sedgwick was with them, both as a driver and crew chief for quite a while. There's Chuck Bowen in the 57 truck. He's 14th. We're riding with Boris Said, who is 27th now, a couple of laps down. Brian Refner on pit road for an unscheduled stop. We told you he had slowed earlier, and he's to the attention of Emery Donaldson and the rest of that team. Glenn Jarrett is on pit road.
Eli, when he came into the pits, the engine was off. One of the crew guys told me they thought that he had lost a cylinder. They didn't know if it was something internal or maybe that he had that a plug wire had come off. They're looking under the hood right now. Of course, they all got the gloves on to protect their hands. Very hot under there. But they really don't know what's wrong with the truck. All they know is that Brian told them it wouldn't run.
So the work continuing on Refner, and there's the 90 truck that is apparently losing an engine. Lance Norrick, the National Hockey League sponsored Dodge truck.
Yeah, that's the co-team truck with the Butch Miller team. And as everyone knows, Lance Norrick's father, I guess, is the mayor of Oklahoma City.
Right, Ron Norrick. Up front, still Jack Sprague in the 24 is the race leader. That 2 truck just ahead of him is on the tail end of the lead lap. That is Mike Bliss in 25th position. 97 laps on the board. 167 makes up the distance. We've got caution. We'll tell you in a moment. Don't forget, folks, Friday night here on TNN Motorsports, it is always a race worth another look. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Winston Cup teams will be in Texas with Jeremy Mayfield on the Bud pole. Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific. The replay coming up right here on TNN Motorsports. And don't forget, during this race or anything else that goes on in the world of NASCAR, we've got information for you at our website, country.com, your personal source for all things country, from country music to stock cars and everything in between. Just log on to our home on the internet, country.com. Eli Gold, Bill Venturini, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, the entire TNN Motorsports team on hand here. That is a good look at Chris Morgan, the chief starter for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, as we work caution just as we were going to commercial break. You might have heard us mention we're going to caution. Lance Norrick had problems, and he was putting a good bit of oil down on the racetrack, so NASCAR had to go out with a speedy dry and get things back cleaned up. So Jack Sprague is the leader. Andy Houston second, Ron Hornaday third, Rick Corelli fourth, Greg Biffle is fifth, Rick Crawford sixth, Jay Sauter seventh. That man, Stacy Compton, is running in eighth. You know, of course, has also allowed Mike Bliss to come all the way around and get in line with everybody else. While we have this opportunity, we have a chance earlier in the week to spend some time with Stacy Compton, very talented young racer, and he is the subject of our RC Cola driver profile.
First racing memory was down at South Boston. I didn't come from a racing family. We were one of the spectators. So my dad took me to South Boston. I went down there and watched Tommy Ellis and Sam Ard and some of those guys, and that'd probably be my first racing memory. The way I got started is we lived about 3 miles from a go-kart track, and we heard them run one Sunday. And I got on the motorcycles and rode over there and looked and seen them racing. Come back that Sunday evening, I said, Mom and Dad, I need a go-kart. And the next weekend, we were racing. We raced in late model stock for years and years. We had good sponsors. I mean, we've always had great sponsors, and just never could get a break that we felt like we needed to step to the next level. And probably going to Martinsville, getting in that Winston Cup show, it let a lot of people know that I was out there. I mean, a lot of people I'd talked to in the past, and I couldn't get in a door. And when I went there and met some people, met Troy Selberg, David Hodson, the doors sort of started opening then, and from then it snowballed, and here we are.
And there is Stacy Compton as he continues under caution, running in the 8th spot. He has a new crew chief now, Kevin Cram, late of the Ron Hornaday team as the crew chief. They've got, you know, last year they ran the first 7 races of the year with 1 truck, and now they've already got 7. But again, Matt Yoakum, he got one of Ron Hornaday's guys away from the group there, so that's a big plus also.
Mike Bliss on pit road, Eli, appears to have an ignition box problem. They went to the spare, but it has a lower rev chip limiter in it, so they're changing out the box. It's going to put in a good box. Matt Willingham's inside the truck right now. Barry Dodson marking orders to Jimmy Smith. They're getting ready to push the truck away as Matt is still working inside the cab.
This long pit stop's not going to really hurt Mike Bliss. He was the last car in the lead lap, so he's not going to lose any positions. All he's got to do is make sure he doesn't get caught in the pits and lose a lap. And you see they're pushing. They got him started. They're pushing to get him started.
Field will get the one-to-go signal, so we are about set to go back to work. There's Butch Miller in the Dana Dodge.
I'll tell you, there's the 2 trucks, the Mike Bliss and the Butch Miller truck, the Dana truck, both came in and got fuel.
They did.
So maybe this is going to play into their hands. If there's another yellow that'll, you know, give them like maybe 5 or 6 laps under caution, they may be able to run the rest of the race without any pit stops.
Ron Barfield was in also. Butch Miller said, I like this track now with the reconfiguration. He said it was kind of like a big overgrown Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Mile. And he said, I love that track.
Exactly. I mean, I grew up at Milwaukee, you know, myself, the Milwaukee Mile. And what I didn't see, I've never been here personally to see the track till this year. And this just, was telling my son when we walked in here, I drove the rent-a-car around the track. I said, this is just a big Milwaukee.
It seems to be the basic feel that these drivers get, but it's not an easy track, and of course neither is Milwaukee.
Yeah, because they're both flat.
Yeah, that's it. Takes very good bit of finesse, a lot of driver input. Field just about a half lap away from going back to green. Let's check in with Glenn Jarrett.
Guys, I thought that Scott Walters, who I believe is moved up to 11th right now, would come in. He reported he wasn't feeling well, so they went and got Lonnie Rush, whose truck had a problem. He fell out a few laps ago, to stand by to get in the truck. But when the caution came out, Scott decided he wanted to try it a little bit longer. Typical race driver. He ain't going to get out of that truck.
Nah, you're gonna pry him out with a crowbar.
Again, that truck that Scott Walters is driving had 3 different drivers a year ago. But he is going to be the man of the season for
Get behind the 35,
Rico.
35. That's where he's at. Hey, get ready, Mikey.
They're talking to Mike Bliss.
This is bullshit.
Someone's displeased.
Right.
He agreed.
Green flag. Flag, green flag.
And we are indeed back to green. Lap 104 of 167. This is for the lead. Andy Houston in the 60. Trying to get the jump on Sprague.
Well, he's looked 2 or 3 times today and got the fender underneath him. But as they come off the corner, Jack Sprague definitely outhandles him down the straightaways.
And Hornaday grabs second spot in the process. Andy Houston had never led in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and this is his 6th race. He finished 11th at Martinsville last September.
One thing I noticed about Hornaday, every time we go yellow or there's a caution, for the first 2, maybe 3 laps, his truck is really fast. And then I guess once the tires heat up, the truck slows down enough. He gains all his positions on the first couple laps.
Boris said 2 laps down and 25th. Corelli going by him, the 4th place runner. Oh, coming through. Hornaday with the punt on Sprague, and he'll take the lead as Jack gets himself squared up. Then here comes Houston to the inside. Andy Houston and Hornaday.
I don't know who led that lap.
Hornaday by inches. Hornaday by inches.
Still there.
This is a great battle. And you can just imagine the smoke coming out of Sprague's ears right now.
Yeah, Dennis Conner is definitely screaming on the radio right now.
You're listening to the Hornaday radio. Away he goes. Houston leads, and now Corelli comes low.
No one coming inside.
Rick Corelli, the High Plains drifter.
Man, no matter how Houston tries it, he just can't lead a lap. Every time he's in position to lead it, someone else gets him. And if you look, Hornaday's dropped where? Back to 6th already? Actually 7th.
Right. And there's Sprague losing a position to Rick Crawford, the 14. Now he settles back in line. So Rick Corelli is the new leader here in Homestead. He had 17 top 10 finishes a year ago, but no wins. He did finish 3rd in Loudon, New Hampshire, and came close in Las Vegas, if you remember, with our broadcast from there. Watch what happened moments ago. This was for the lead.
Boy, you can see Jack really had the wheel turning right. Now he's back to the left. The truck's back to the right. He's had to turn twice. And when he does that, Hornaday sticks his nose underneath him.
So Sprague led from lap 53 to 104. Hornaday led lap 105. Corelli took the lead at lap 106. And we are finally caught up with a big run of activity there. Corelli shows the way midway at Homestead. That is some of the scenery we enjoy down here in Homestead near the Florida Keys. Just a beautiful part of this country, having rebuilt from Hurricane Andrew in 1992. Welcome back. TNN Motorsports is with you here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. 6, Rick Corelli. 60, Andy Houston. 14, Rick Crawford. 24, Jack Sprague. They are first through fourth. Fifth is Hornaday in the 16 truck. Jay Sauter runs in sixth. Greg Biffle seventh. Rob Rizzo all the way up to eighth now, with Scott Walters ninth, and Bob Keselowski is running in 10th. Sprague right there, the 24, if you're just joining us, has led the majority of the day. He's led 81 of the 111 laps. Got punted out of the way before, and now Glenn, he has to try and get past Rick Crawford, who's making his truck nice and wide.
Yes, he is, Eli. And I tell you what, Crawford might be somebody to keep our eye on. He had a terrible pit stop the first time they stopped for fuel. He stalled the truck on pit road, fell all the way back to 21st. Right before the break, he'd moved back up to 8th. Now, they made a big change on the right front spring. They went softer. Remember, I told you earlier on he had a big push. They softened the right front spring. Looks like he's got the truck dialed in. He may have something to say about the outcome.
You might have seen him waving right there. Crawford was pointing and waving at someone. His crew chief, Roland Walotica, is working as the team spotter today. Instead of being down on pit road, Roland's gone up to the top of the grandstand to call the shots there.
There's a name that's been around racing a long time.
Doug George has retired for the day. If you're following his fates and fortunes, he's taken his truck to the garage, joining Terry Cook, Randy Tolsma, Tony Roper, Joe Gaeta, Mike Wallace, and Lonnie Rush.
I got a feel for Andy Houston. He's actually led this race twice, but he's never been officially scored as the leader because he's taken over the lead either in 1 and 2 or down the back straightaway. And by the time they get to the start-finish line, someone else has passed. And he's just been digging all day.
Good scrambles right there. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth right on your screen there. Corelli, Houston, Crawford, Sprague, Hornaday. We're at lap 113 of 167. Sprague's trying for third. Got it as Crawford goes wide, but let's see if Crawford can power back. Glenn, we saw Crawford waving to everybody before. Now as both Sprague and Hornaday go by, does he have a problem?
Yes, he does, Eli. They found out now he has no clutch. It's not going to hurt him on the racetrack right now, but whenever they have to stop for fuel in a few laps, he definitely will have a problem coming out of the pits. He only has high gear.
Clear body.
So Rick Crawford with a problem for the future of this afternoon. TNN Motorsports is with you in Homestead, Florida. More coming up in a moment.
Mack Trucks are furnished by Clement Chevy Mack Sales. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MACK.
Welcome back. Rick Corelli continues to lead here at Homestead over Houston and Sprague. 3 rookies still in the top 12 today. Andy Houston, who is running in the second spot. Greg Biffle, who is running in 7th. And Scott Walters, who started 33rd, is now running 12th as we continue the storylines that we set for you as we signed on the air earlier today. Let's get an update now from pit road, though, as we work at lap 119 of 167.
Eli, we told you right before the halftime break that Ron Hornaday had a vibration in his truck. Then it started to go away. On the restart for the second half, it was fine. And now it's back. He dropped back to 7th, and he's back up to 6th. Right now, though, he says it hasn't gotten any worse. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, thanks, Matt. We've stationed ourselves pretty much in Andy Houston's pits right now, watching this impressive run by the young rookie is what I was trying to say there, folks. He has done an outstanding job. We talk about how he almost leads the lap, and it doesn't quite. Rick Wren, his crew chief, and his brother, Scott Houston, also his dad, are on the radio telling him, Andy, just stay calm. Save your tires for later in the race. You got a good truck. You got a real solid chance of winning this thing. So for a rookie, he's showing a lot of cool right now.
Indeed he is, and that just follows up on what a great battle it's going to be for Cintas Rookie of the Year honors here in 1998. We talked about Joe Ruttman earlier, how he was running in 30th and 27th and all of that. Well, here's Joe Ruttman now running in 15th. feeling the heat of Dave Resendiz, and around they go. No sooner had we talked about Rutman than around they went. He never touched anything. Never touched anything, and we're staying green. I was about to say that he was running 30th for so long, and here he is up to 15th. And
I think we're,
Resendiz,
you know, we did this to Randy Tulsma.
Yeah.
So.
Might not talk about anybody. How about that? Joe Rutman finally gets it together there, and he is backslid all the way to 23rd. Meanwhile, Mike Bliss in the 2 truck is now back to 10th and challenging the 86 of Stacy Compton for 9th.
You can't tell if who's going to have the advantage coming off the corners, because the way these corners are so wide, you can have, you know, a truck length going in and lose a truck length coming off, just like we just saw. Mike had Stacy Compton going in, and coming off, Compton pulled him by a truck length.
Joe Rutman, meanwhile, is now on the access road to the pit lane. Remember, you enter pit road nearing turn 3, and here it is again, he and Resendiz.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they touched. They touched after Joe. It looked like Joe got sideways just a little and then touched Resendiz. I don't think it could have been just the air taking the air off the back of the truck.
Let's see from
Maybe
this
it's a better angle here. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, Joe wiggled first and then got into Resendiz. Luckily, nobody really wrecked here.
And Joe Rutman has made his way around to the pit lane now, and there he is. Glenn Jarrett, they do go to right side tires.
Yes, they do, Eli. Evidently, he must have cut a right side. We're sure that he flat spotted him, but NASCAR won't let you change it if it's flat spotted. They're on the right rear, and now they're coming around to the left side. So evidently, he had problems all the way around. They're cranking a bunch of wedge in the right rear of the truck, so we saw it get away from him a little looser than Joe would like. I tell you, he's had an awful day for a guy that always challenges on the super speedways. This has not been one of Joe Rutman's best days. They're changing rear tires. As you can see, they're on the left rear right now.
And meanwhile, we've also sneaking a peek right there for the lead, because Andy Houston has tightened it up. And here comes Sprague again, and so too Rick Crawford. Colorado, North Carolina, Michigan, and Alabama represented among those front 4 drivers. Part of what makes this series something, they have got so many states in this union represented in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And Jimmy Hensley is on pit road.
That's not a good sign when you see the hood come up on pit road.
Jimmy's got Richard Petty here as truck owner, also has 7 members of the Miami Dolphins. So we saw today Trace Armstrong is here among them. He's the president of the NFL Players Association. Back to the lead now, Corelli, Houston, Sprague, and Crawford.
The last 2 laps, Jack Sprague's definitely been looking all over Andy Houston's bumper.
There's Mike Bliss working around Keselowski in the 29. That's 10th and 11th spot right there. 32, Curtis Markham. He's not on the lead lap.
I think it's almost the other way around. It almost looks like Keselowski's working over Bliss.
See who works over whom.
Yeah, well, Mike Bliss definitely has the advantage going in the corner.
Again, Markham right there watching. They do change all 4 tires with the approval of NASCAR on that Rutman truck as we watch the lead. If you make a tire change without NASCAR's approval, it is a 5-lap penalty per tire. So if you go all the way around and change 4 tires, you'd lose 20 laps.
Wow.
And that's a way to make this series cost effective. Change it halfway like everybody else. And only if you have a tire terribly flat spotted or cut down can you change otherwise, as obviously Rutman did. So Corelli still leads by 0.2 of a second on Houston and Sprague. Lots more racing coming up. We'll be right back. It is being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road. We are under caution. Road racer and NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regular Rob Rizzo, who is running in the 10th spot, crashes off turn number 2. We'll take a look again what happens here. Don't know how much help he got from the rear. It was tough to tell. That would be Stacy Compton, I guess, the 86 it looked like, who went by there. But it was difficult to get a good eyeball on it. Boris Said was in the area also.
At least one good thing, he is okay, because we saw him get out of the truck and walk to the ambulance.
And here comes Stacy Compton right by to his inside.
RC Cola truck on the inside.
Watch this. And there you have the reason for the caution. The 8th of the day. Leaders are on pit road. Matt Yoakum is first.
Rick Corelli hits his marks. They only need 3/4 of 1 can of fuel in the truck. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment if they get a chance, and they are done. And he has to back the truck up. They said he went over the line. The NASCAR official says he went over the line. They're going to hold him. Glenn Jarrett.
We're down here with Andy Houston. He has come in there. They have made a chassis adjustment. Rick Wren told me the truck was slightly tight coming off the corner, and now they're holding Andy. Evidently, he must have come in a little too fast. Rick Wren pleading the case, but I don't believe it's going to be any good. Boy, he's going to lose a lot of valuable position.
Actually, Glenn, they're going to hold Corelli and Houston both for pulling up and passing before making the pit stop. And they made that very clear in the drivers' meeting, even at our production meeting with NASCAR this morning. You cannot pull up, you cannot pass the pace truck. Even though you're on the access road and the pace truck stays on the racetrack, you cannot pass it. That's Mike Simons on the left, one of the NASCAR officials being talked to by the Corelli crew. But that decision being made, you cannot pull up, and that takes care of first and second place.
Yeah, they're being penalized 1 lap. And it's a shame, but, you know, the rules were explained to them at the drivers' meeting, just like it was at our production meeting. You cannot pass even the truck. When you pull in the line to pit, you cannot even pass the truck that was in front of you. You need to stay in that position. You can't even pull up, or else it's a penalty. And I think these guys must have, well, they had no one to pull up to except the pace truck as they came down to pit road access, and they must have passed it. And unfortunately, they're paying the price.
So a major price to be paid right there as other teams now make their pit stops here on the main straightaway. Boris Said is in. So too Randy McDonald. Curtis Markham, he makes his pit stop. Randy Nelson. A lot of warm tempers on this 90-degree day in South Florida. TNN Motorsports continues from Homestead, Florida in a moment. Back to green. TNN Motorsports with you here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. 35, Ron Barfield, the leader. 18, Butch Miller in second. 24, Sprague in third. Green is in the air. Remember, Corelli and Houston having been penalized. They're also going to penalize the 60 again, Andy Houston, for passing to the left prior to the green being displayed. So he'll have a stop-and-go penalty added on to the problems that he was just hit with.
Corelli's made up his lap.
He's on the tail end of the lead lap, the 6 truck is. Houston is there as well, but again, remember, Houston's going to have to come in, and there goes Crawford for the lead. The 14 to the inside of Barfield, and Rick Crawford will lead here at the Homestead Motorsports Complex.
Boy, you can see Mike Bliss there working real hard on the Greg Biffle truck. He's been coming through the pack. You got to remember, he was at one point 1 lap down. He's made up his lap, and now he's in 6th spot, working the Granger Ford for 5th.
Looking from the back of the Team ASE truck of Mike Bliss. AC Compton is in the 86 truck, running behind him in 7th. And Sprague now into 2nd spot. That white truck there got around that green and yellow truck for Barfield. Remember, the pit stops of a short while ago, our pit roundup really changed the complexion of this race. The 1st and 2nd place runners came down the pit lane in 1st and 2nd, but they pulled up and passed the pace truck to do so. They were penalized a lap. That basically opens the door for Sprague, should he be able to get around Crawford here, to take the lead.
I've got an interesting fact about Jack Sprague. Out of the 22 Speedway races that the trucks have run, he's scored the most points and the most wins. He's won 8 races out of all the drivers.
Man is big time. We told you that Houston being black flagged again for passing on the left, a stop and go penalty, and Glenn Jarrett a heartbreaker for that bunch from Hickory, but those are the rules.
Well, Eli, it's a hard lesson learned, and what Rick Wren is arguing about now is bringing Andy in for pulling up to the inside line right before that restart. Now, I don't understand, and I'm just speculating here. Andy's in for a stop. There he's gone. And if he's not careful, they'll get him for speeding now. But anyway, Rick's pleading his case. It's not going to do any good. But what has happened is he followed Corelli up to the inside line again, and they penalized Andy. Evidently, Rick must have passed all his trucks on the right when he made his way up to the inside. That's what they brought Andy in for now, is passing on the left as they were getting ready to go back to green.
And Glenn, while you were speaking, the guys and ladies in the truck found the video and showed indeed that Houston passed to the left, which is illegal, and that was on the access road. Watch it, folks, the 60 right there. He'll move inside of Norrick, inside of Rains, inside of Sed to go 3 wide. In all of those instances, you can't do that.
Even if he originally came out of pits behind Corelli, if Corelli passed him on the right, down the back straightaway, that's okay, but you cannot pass on the left once you get in that position.
So that video tells the story there as we now set you back up front with that blue truck. Rick Crawford showing the way. If you're a Jimmy Hensley fan, the gentleman from Horse Pasture, Virginia, has taken his truck to the garage area. Matt Yoakum, a lot of short tempers, I know, but rules are rules down there.
Well, George Church is the crew chief for Rick Corelli. George, you've had a couple of conversations with NASCAR. What'd they tell you?
Well, they told us that when we come down pit road for our gas stop, I guess we passed the pace truck when we were on pit road. Can't do that. They give us a pit road speed, and we didn't exceed that, but we still passed the pace truck coming on the pit road, so that's a 1-lap penalty.
Well, the good news is he did get his lap back, but there's a long way to the front. Eli?
Right, he has gotten back onto the tail end of the lead lap. Meanwhile, that's the battle for the lead you're looking at. The powder blue truck there, Rick Crawford, who was 2nd in Cintas Rookie of the Year battles last year, finished 3rd at Texas. And I'll tell you something, he's doing a job keeping Sprague at bay right now.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be able to, but you can see from the center of the corner out, Jack's truck is definitely pushing, and I know they were working on that problem all day. Like I mentioned it earlier, because of the configuration of the track. That's the biggest problem everyone's had, and it looks like Sprague still has the problem. Now he's good through 1 and 2, though. Looks like he's only having a pushing problem out of 3 and 4.
Working lap 143 of 167, getting down to the finish here on TNN Motorsports. There's the lead battle. Rick Crawford to the left, to the right, Jack Sprague. We'll have more similar racing next weekend, the NASCAR Busch Series. TNN Motorsports will have the beating and banging of typical Hickory Motor Speedway short track racing. The Galaxy Foods 300 next Saturday, 1 week from today, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on TNN Motorsports. Hope you can join us from Hickory. That is coming up next Saturday. Going to be a good one right there.
You can see it as Jack Sprague. If he can get through 3 and 4 without the truck pushing up 1 lane, he can close up on Crawford's bumper real quick. Then as he starts to push the truck, I think a little more, if he starts to get a push out of the truck, you'll see him slow back down. But if he can keep it down tight without the push, we may see a pass here.
Remember, these teams pitted at lap 131, so they can go the distance from there. There's the 14 bunch looking on. Again, the crew chief, Roland Walatica, working as the spotter up on the roof. Crawford doing a job. Just ahead of them, the 6 truck, Rick Corelli. He's on the tail end of the lead lap in 19th spot. They told you Jimmy Hensley retired his truck before. Engine failure was the reason there, if you're curious. Got 20 laps remaining here at Homestead. Would Sprague have passed him by now if he could?
Yeah. Knowing Jack Sprague, he wants to lead every lap. He's one of those drivers that never really seems to hold back. He'll drive the wheels off the truck till he gets to the front.
Of course, this is the first super speedway race that Crawford has led.
You can see if Jack keeps the car tight coming off the corner, keeps it down low, it seems like he binds it up just a little and it doesn't run as fast down the straightaways. If he lets it roll up a lane like he is right now, all of a sudden he seems to have more straightaway speed.
And there you see third place up for grabs. Sauter in the 3, Barfield in the 35.
Yeah, Jay Sauter's been real quiet. I mean,
he's driven himself a race and a half today.
Yeah, he sure has. You know, we haven't talked much about him, but he was one of the drivers that told me that he really liked the track and was really comfortable with it. He felt he could run anywhere he wanted, and he was going to just be. He told me, I'm going to just take my time and be smooth. All I want to do is be there at the end. And sure enough, he's up in the, what is it, 3rd right now?
All right, there you have Biffle in the 50, finished 5th at Walt Disney World, and there he is running 5th again, maybe even 4th. And you've got Stacy Compton there on the right of your screen, the 86 truck. He's in 6th spot. And Compton's the fellow who hung the new body on the truck specifically for this weekend's super speedway race here.
You know what I've really found amazing about this whole truck series is they run maybe 15 laps and there's 2 or 3 trucks that are really seem to be dominant, and then all of a sudden 2 other guys are down. You know, like for sure, no one thought Corelli would be as fast as he is. Here he not only makes up his lap and nobody's catching him. You know, everyone thought it was Bliss, and now all of a sudden you've got Biffle running up there and Barfield. It's really interesting to be able to see these guys adjust on their trucks.
Indeed.
And make them competitive.
Rick Crawford led 7 laps last year in Colorado, 17 laps in Topeka at Heartland Park. He leads here late in Homestead. Our way towards a conclusion, 12 laps to go here at Homestead. Rick Crawford having pulled away now by 1 full second on Jack Sprague. Again, the 6 truck, Corelli, on the tail end of the lead lap, so that's not a battle for position. Corelli was in 19th. Crawford out of Mobile, Alabama. 2nd in the rookie battle a year ago. 10 top 10 finishes with a 3rd place in Texas. There's the spread from Crawford to Sprague. Getting definitely wider and wider. Meanwhile, Mike Bliss back in the 11th position now. That's he in the 2 truck there in the outside groove, going 3 wide. 3 wide. Inside goes Barry Bodine in the 7. Good run for Barry today. He's now up to 13th position. Haven't talked much about Barry.
Not bad for having a provisional starter running up, what is it, 13th?
Right, had good run. He had a good run at Walt Disney World in the 7 truck before the day ended early with motor problems that day.
Actually, he's running 11th.
Good run for Barry Bodine. Very quietly staying out of trouble today in and around the 8 caution flags we've had. Tammy Jo Kirk in the middle of the picture there. That's number 51 as we look at her truck from Boris Sed's onboard camera. Tammy Jo running 15th. That's her own racing team.
Sponsored by the Auto Value Auto Parts chain.
Right, hoping to get Auto Value to stay on for a longer run. No commitment past this weekend. It's 10 laps to go now, 9 actually, as the leaders walk it across the stripe. Sprague's closing in again.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jack was laying back, cooling his tires off, or what his whole strategy was. Because, you know, knowing Jack, he's the one that always wants to lead. So I don't know if he was actually sitting back, waiting till maybe like 5 or 6 laps to go, or if he actually was starting to lose ground to Rick. You know, Rick's been an all-pro veteran.
Oh yeah.
In '87 through '96, in those 11 years that he ran, he had 15 wins. So he knows how to win at these racetracks.
Now this is going to be good right here. Down to the final 8 laps. Sprague in the 24, Rick Crawford in the 14 for the lead and the win. They've pulled away by 3 seconds on Jay Sauter. That's why we're just kind of zeroing in right here. Everybody else is 3 seconds or further behind. Sprague led most recently for a lap at lap 132. He's led 82 laps today.
I don't know if you saw, just as Jack Sprague came off in the 4th corner, you saw some chunks of rubber come flying out from underneath his truck. I don't think it's much to be concerned about. I think it was he actually took a higher line running through 3 and 4 and picked up some of the rubber on the outside lane, and as he started to scrub it off, it came flying off the tires.
Behind those two, Sauter is 3rd, Biffle is 4th, Barfield is in 5th. Glenn Jarrett.
The guys, I talked to Dennis Conner, Jack Sprague's crew chief, and what we're seeing here is classic on a flat racetrack. We mentioned Sprague's truck's a little tight. Well, being behind Crawford on this racetrack in these flat corners makes it even tighter. When he gets right up to him, the truck pushes really badly. Dennis feels like if he could ever get by him, he could drive off and leave him. But right now, he can't even get under him, much less get by him. So the fact that he's running so close to Crawford is making the truck even tighter off these flat turns.
You know, that's the old saying, you know, you can catch the guy, but trying to pass him is another story. And that's strictly because of the air. Like, you know, Glenn said that he can catch him. The minute he gets underneath him, it creates too much of a push on his truck, and he can't get underneath him to pass him.
Rick Crawford turned 45 just 3 days ago. Talked about Mike Bliss trying to give himself a birthday present for a birthday tomorrow. Crawford wouldn't mind his just a couple 3 days late, thank you.
Yes, every time Jack is able to run up and close up on Rick, all of a sudden, about 1 or 2 laps later, Rick's be able to stretch it by 2 or 3 feet. And then all of a sudden, Jack will close back up. I think that if you can see Jack Sprague, if he can run up on Crawford this time, he's not going to back out of it because he's only 4 laps to go. If he can get the momentum to catch to run up on his bumper, he'll do everything in his power to go ahead and make the move to pass him.
Remember that deal back at lap 104 when Sprague had the lead and Hornaday punted his way through. And with the exception of 1 other lap, Sprague's not led since. Hornaday, if you're curious, he's running an 8th spot right now. 4.5 seconds back.
Bob Keselowski, who made an engine change before the race, made the right choice. He's running 7th right now. Oh, Sprague's way
high. That helped Crawford nicely. It'll be the white flag next time by. Rick Crawford, who started 12th, would be looking for his first win in 28 starts in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Oh, and what was that coming out of the back of Sprague's truck?
I saw a puff of smoke come out of Sprague's truck. It almost looked like it came out the exhaust pipe.
They're coming to the white flag this time. There you see the lead building and building and building some more. 1 lap to go for Rick Crawford. His only other top 5 finish was a 3rd at the Texas Motor Speedway a year ago. Remember at the beginning of the telecast, we said, would Ford be able to do okay here? Because they hadn't tested here. Chevy had, Dodge had. Well, this is a Ford apparently heading to victory lane as they are dancing in the port city of Mobile, Alabama. Rick Crawford wins his first race on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Sprague is 2nd. Sauter goes 3rd. Holding on to 4th is Biffle. Barfield will come across in 5th. Compton 6th. Keselowski will cross in 7th. Hornaday 8th. Then Resendiz 9th. And Scott Walters in 10th. Matt Yoakum, what a day for the Rick Crawford team.
What a day indeed, Eli. Chris Few helping to call the shots down in here in the pits and rolling upstairs. Great job. Congratulations, your first win.
Thank you. First thing I got to say is hello to all the people in Texas, and thanks, Mr. Mitchell. We love you a bunch.
How big is this for you guys? Before today, your best finish was 3rd at Texas last year.
Man, we've been working in a little shop in Cleveland, Georgia. We're away from Charlotte. People think we're crazy from being out there. I don't think I'd go anywhere else. I love this place.
What's this mean to you personally, your first day helping to call the shots down here in the pits?
Man, this ain't nothing better. Nothing better at all. Not another feeling in the world like it.
Hard to sum up those comments, Eli.
He said a mouthful right there, and the team and their co-crew chiefs win the Plasticoat Winning Finish Award. Plasticoat, the official spray paint of NASCAR, proud to sponsor the Winning Finish Award again here in 1998. Plasticoat presenting $1,000 to the co-crew chiefs for Rick Crawford's team, the highest finishing Craftsman truck team participating in the Plasticoat Award program. And at the end of the year, the crew chief with the best average finish will win $10,000. So congratulations to the co-crew chiefs on Rick Crawford's team. And we will head to victory lane and chat with what I'm sure is a happy bunch of folks as soon as we come back on TNN Motorsports. TNN's coverage from Homestead is brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Rick Crawford of Mobile, Alabama wins, and Glenn Jarrett, not only is it his first win, it is the first time he's even led on a super speedway. How about that?
Yeah, pretty good day overall. And I'll tell you, there's some really happy folks down here right now. Rick, come over here just a second, buddy. Congratulations. First thing I want to say is a long time coming, but you guys had a pretty bad truck in the first half. You had a terrible push, and you made a change at halftime, made all the difference in the world.
That little driver error on the pit stop, he killed a motor on the way out of the exit. I've seen a lot of them do it in Winston Cup, so it wasn't nothing new. But anyway, drove it back, starting in the top 12 at the second half, and that's where we started beginning the race, and marched onto the front, made some changes in this thing during the halftime break, and Circle Bar Motel and RV Park, Ford F-150s and 50s in victory lane.
Let me ask you one thing. Now, the last 20 laps or so, your rearview mirror full of Jack Sprague, who's won so many races, who's been so good on these super speedways. Did you think you could hold him off?
I wanted to real bad, but I knew Jack. Jack's one of the biggest guns here. Bob Burham built a motor for this thing about 2 weeks ago, and that's what we run today, and all the horsepower I needed, babe.
Not going to be much partying done tonight, is there?
Going to be a whole lot of partying going on. There'll be some blue suede shoes today. Dvar said, give me some no fear blue suede shoes today. And don't step on them. We're going to be Elvis tonight.
We're going to let Elvis go celebrate. He's definitely in the building.
Elvis Crawford, one of the little-known members of that family. What a job for Rick Crawford today, and a super performance there. A great job also today by Mike Bliss, who has been named the Mopar High Performer of the race. Want to thank Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. Mike Bliss, another one of those fellas, kind of like Jay Sauter, who drove a race and a half or so here today.
Oh, I got to give Mike Bliss credit. He drove his butt off today. He had to make up a lap. He cut a tire down, go through the field 2 or 3 times. Emotionally and physically, that really drains you. Not alone, he had to use up his truck. He had to use up his tires harder than anyone else because he had to go through the pack more than anybody else. Yep. I got to give him my hats off to him. He showed me that he's one heck of a race car driver.
Matt Yoakum, I see you down there with Jack Sprague, a 3rd straight top 5 here at Homestead. What happened late in the race there to the truck?
Well, Jack, another great run here at Homestead. Your second place in 3 races here.
Well, I tell you what, I can't say enough for this Hendrick Motorsports team, the Chevrolet, Rotary Lift, Quaker State, GMAC, and AC. Maybe this will get us close to getting a primary sponsor, but had an awesome truck since we unloaded it until we put the last set of tires on, and I just couldn't do a thing with it. You know, the tires are plenty safe. It just sometimes you get a loose set, sometimes you get a tight set, and I'd rather I got a loose set, and I ended up getting a real tight set. So the first half the thing was awesome, ran awesome times. She was a little loose, and I could deal with it. Second half, it just wouldn't turn, and I could run them down, but I couldn't get it by him once I could, you know, got up to him. So, you know, 5 laps ago we had a little bit of motor trouble. I'm not real sure what it was. Got some trash in the carburetor or something, and I fell way back. But hey, this ought to put us in good shape for the points, and we'll go on to Phoenix where, dang it, we ought to win that one.
Well, the fender's pushing a little bit down by the valence. Did that kind of give you a little bit of a push?
I'm sure it didn't help the situation at all. That's a lot of downforce there. But, you know, I was too tight from the get-go on the last set. But, hey, you never know. I mean, that's the way it played out today. I congratulate Rick Crawford and getting him a race there. And I knew he wasn't going to be easy to pass because he hadn't won one before. But I knew if I could get in front of him, I felt like I could drive away. But I just couldn't get in front of him. So, you know, we'll take second. The truck's in one piece. And just like to say hi to Rick and Linda, and we're coming home.
Last year you had a slow start. You ended up winning the championship. This year you have a 4th and a 2nd, a pretty stellar start in the defense of the title.
Well, I'm happy, you know, at that point, but it's just disappointing when you have a truck like we've had all week and you can't get it to the end. But, hey, we ought to be in good shape in the points, leading or second or somewhere in there, and we'll go on and see if we can win Phoenix.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Jack Sprague, 2nd place here in Homestead.
Hey, Matt, tell Jack he should smile a little. 2nd place sure isn't bad, especially with the field today.
And there is a smile right there from Jack Sprague. Let's take a look at the unofficial results behind the top 2. Sauter. How about Biffle, who had a top 5 here, a 4th place today, had a top 5 at Orlando. So he's another guy gotten out to a great start this year.
Not bad for the rookie.
A lot of rookies right there. Scott Walters also in the Cintas rundown. Look at Barry Bodine, a super run for today. And Chuck Bowen, champions on. Maybe that'll get him something further sponsor-wise for a full-time deal.
Hey, nice to see my old friend Frank Kimmel finishing 16th.
Right, the ARCA Series regular, former champion there. There you see 21 through 30.
Butch Miller in the Dana truck coming home 21st.
Jimmy Hensley there with the problems, finishing 28th. And there are some of the teams that had problems early in the day, and the first retiree, Terry Cook, who had that problem with the turn 3 wall on lap number 1. So good race today. 8 caution periods slowing the event. Average speed 104.787 miles an hour. We'll come in right back.